Hey, welcome back to Dan's Chess Lounge, everyone. Today at the Tata Still Masters, Anish Giri was facing off against Sam Shankland. And like I said before, I was happy that Shankland won the U.S. Chess Championship, and now he's playing these top tier players, and it would be good experience. Today was an in-game lesson for everyone. And Anish Giri was white, Sam Shankland was black, and let's see what happened over the board, right? So Anish played King F6 here, and as you can see, it's even material, 3 pawns, and each player has 1 piece. But Anish's pawns is doubled on the B file there, so it's going to be hard for him to make a passer out of the B4 and B5 pawns. So he's attacking the pawns here on the king side, right? He goes king F6, right? Sam attacks the bishop. The bishop goes to F8, attacks the pawn there, and now you have knight H4. So Sam is basically saying, okay, you're gonna grab these pawns here on the H and G files, and I'll go ahead and go after the pawn here on H2, something like that. Or if the pawn moves, then he can swing his knight to G1 and go after the pawn that way. So Anish goes ahead and captures the pawn on H6. Sam plays knight F3, attacking the pawn here on H2. Anish pushes, and like I was saying before, Sam plays knight G1 and goes after the pawn there. And at this point here, after bishop captures G5, if you was watching the broadcast, you could clearly see that Sam was in some distress mentally. He was disgusted because it was at this moment here that he realized that his knight was going to be trapped, and it was going to be dominated by Giri's bishop. So after he plays knight captures H3, Giri of course plays bishop E3. Now the knight is totally dominated. No matter where it moves here, it can be captured. So at this point in the broadcast, Sam was totally disgusted. You could see clearly on his face that he thought he had blundered and given the game away, basically. So he was resigned mentally at this moment here, right? But if you look deeper into the position, the game is not over. Sam needed to dig deep within himself and find out that the game is not over at this point, right? There's still a way to save this game, right? So I thought that he did. I thought that he had found the solution. He played king D6, and then Giri plays king F5, like he's going to go after the knight. King D5 here attacks the pawns, right? Threatens to grab the pawns over here. And Anish plays B6, right? Because now he can protect the pawns with the bishop. He can just play bishop C5 if he wants, and that can protect both pawns here. And Sam actually resigned at this moment here, to everyone's disbelief, because the position is totally drawn, right? And Sam had a blunder. He had a complete brain fart at this moment here when he resigned, because he was thinking that there was no way that he could save the game. But if you think about it, there's no way that white can grab the B7 pawn here and get the B7 pawn out the way so he can promote his own pawns. There's no way that he can do that, because Giri has a dark squared bishop and the pawn is a light square. So even if he just gives up the knight, the king just has to run back to the corner here and hide out in the corner. right? And Sam actually knew that if the king got to A8, he knew that that was drawn, but C8 was also sufficient. He could have got the C8 instead. So let's just see what would have happened here, right? He would play King D6. Giri would go after the knight. King D7. He snaps off the knight. And now King C8. And Sam thought, after Bishop F4, then he would not have been able to get to the corner. Therefore, the game is lost. He thought that Giri could have won. He could have won the B7 pawn, but that's not correct. That's not correct at all now, because there is no way that Giri could have got his king close enough to win the B7 pawn, because all Sam would have to do was shuffle back and forth from King C8 to D7. Just back and forth, back and forth. Let's go ahead and see. Let's go ahead and see. So, for example, let's just say a throwaway move here. What if White would have played King G4, right? Sam can get to the corner there. Let's say Bishop F8. He hides out in the corner. Now that's stalemate, right? So because the bishop is on that diagonal there. So then he would have to move off. Sam just plays King B8. That's stalemate. That would be stalemate there, right? If the king moved or if he played any other move. So that's easy to see that that was a draw. Okay, so if we go back to the position where Sam got confused here, if we go back to, let's say, Bishop F4 here, right? Where he thought once Giri played Bishop F4, then he would be trapped out of the corner, not realizing that this was a draw, right? So in this position here, it's still a draw, because if Sam just plays King D7, White brings the king up, and he shuffles back and forth. White's approaching with his king. Now he goes back to King C8. If White plays King E7, right, then now that's stalemate. There's no moves for Black. If he plays King E6, right, then Sam can play King D8, King D6. He goes back King C8, King C5, and there we go again, King D7. There's no way that White can make progress here. Sam just keeps going back and forth. King C8, back to D7, over and over again, right? Because the bishop is a dark square bishop, but the pawn is light square. There's no way for him to get the pawn. So today was a great lesson in in-game study, in-game play. Also, a lot of people make fun of the players who always play it out to the very, very end. This scores one in their camp, because resigning too soon, as in this case here, you know, is a big reason and why those players play everything out to the very, very end. They make you win it, because sometimes you think you know things that you really just don't know. You got to play it out to see. You know, it's happened to me. It's happened to probably everyone that's played chess or plays chess, you know, competitively. And unfortunately for Sam, it's on the big stage. It's on the world stage. Everyone can see it. That's why I feel bad for Sam. So going forward, we have 2 rounds left in the Tata still. Magnus Carlsen and Anish Giri are both tied in the lead with 7.5 points. They play in the very last round, so it's going to be very dramatic with all of their controversy and all of their beef that they have going on between each other. Even today in Anish's press conference or post-round interview, he was bringing up Magnus Carlsen a few times. It seems like no matter what, no matter who he plays, he always seems to bring up Carlsen. So I know he's just having fun with it. So it'll be good to see. Hopefully, they'll both go into the last round needing a win, something like that. And we'll see who wins. We'll see who comes out the victor. I still have my money on Magnus Carlsen for sure. But we'll see. I know it'll be entertaining. Okay, guys, that's all for this video. Hope you enjoyed it. See you guys next time.